Good morning. Just wanted to let you know before we start that if you are looking at this and it looks a little different than when we actually did the webinar, it's because we're redoing it. There was some technical difficulties that we had, as you recall, the first part of this, and as well with the recording. So what we're going to do is this is basically a re-recording, and the good news about that is that I'll be able to answer some of the questions that came up as we go along. The online the first part that we did of this with online leads, and before I begin, I want to let you know that you guys have had an earthquake in the past week, and you got a hurricane coming, and really want you to know that my thoughts and prayers are with you guys as you deal with all that. The online leads, the whole purpose of working with them is to build your client base. And so what we've done over the past couple of times that we've been together is to start really working at what online leads are, how we get to them, how we work them. And so I'm going to do a quick review of where we've been, and then we're going to talk about some new things and some new ways of handling them, and actually some more specific things as we go along. All right. I'm going to click here real quick. Okay. And one of the things that we talked about last time around was, what is a lead? Well, it could be somebody that just wants something. It could be somebody that's ready to move today. It could be somebody that's just browsing around and looking at homes in the area. It could be somebody who has a specific area or place in mind. It could be a military buyer. It could be somebody looking for a second home in Virginia Beach. There's really no limit to who it can be. And so because you've got such a wide variety of people that are out there, and a lot of times they're early on, we really don't know who they are. And one of the great things about our websites that we have, the TREG websites, is that you're able to get a little better idea of who you're dealing with. I will let you know up front that we're going to have a little contest in the middle of during the course of this webinar about and bring up some of the people that again, and if you win the contest, well, you get to spend an hour of time with me to ask me anything you want. But I'll save that for a little bit later. It'll be fun. Okay, so we don't really know who, when a lead comes into a website, we really don't know who they are, and the two biggest obstacles that we face are that they don't know who you are, and they don't trust you yet. That's one obstacle, because if they don't know you, they can't trust you, and even if they do know you, they probably still don't trust you as a realtor yet. And the second obstacle is they're just getting started, and maybe they're not ready yet. We're catching them a lot earlier in the sales process than we used to. People used to go right when they were looking for a house. It was an experience. They would open up the newspaper on Sunday morning and start looking for houses, and then all of a sudden they would call the realtor. And realtors got really good at filtering those out, and so we went through that last time in detail. And this isn't about filtering people out. This is about bringing them over to your little world and letting them incubate and get ready, and when they're ready to take some action, being there for them right away. So we talked about why speed works with leads. We talked about the California Association of Realtors study that was done on leads, and why that works and how that works, and what their perceptions are. And their perceptions are that if you answer them immediately and you respond to them quickly and with the right information, that you're an amazing person. You're waiting there for them to do business. You're hungry for business. You're a professional, and that's their impression of you. Whereas, more importantly, if you don't respond, they have a much more negative view of it. One question that we get a lot is, will they be freaked out? And the answer to that is no. And what people mean by that is, are they going to get freaked out if you respond and say, I noticed you were looking at a house in Virginia Beach. Is there something I can help you with over there? That sort of thing. They're going to be, wow, you knew what I was up to. Well, people are getting less freaked out about that because they're spending more time on the internet. In the early days of the internet, that was more common. They were like, oh, big brother, And so this is a little easier to do. So the next thing that we need to evaluate is, which is going to be more common? Are they going to be more impressed, or are they going to be more freaked out? And by and large, they're really going to be impressed more than anything. If they perceive you that you're there to help, they'll be your friend, and they will work with you. They won't be threatened by that. It's all about their perceptions as to whether you're there to help them or to sell them something. Okay, we talked about the power of questions, that it's a pregnant pause when you ask a question, and we were trained to do that. And we also talked about that this pushes them to respond with an answer. Well, if you do that with an email, you're likely to start a conversation. So we started doing that. We also talked about the power of brevity, and we talked about why it works. Most people these days, when they actually look at their email, like this is an email of mine this morning. You notice Brian Talley's a client of mine, and one of the things that he does, he puts in one-liner questions better than anybody I know, and basically, what do you think about pop-up chat software? Boom. I can go down in my Outlook. I know what he wants, so it makes it really easy for me to respond. If you ask one-liner quick questions of people that you want to start a conversation with, they're a lot more likely to just hit reply and respond to you. If they have to read it and it makes them think, then that's probably too much. And we went into that this last time in depth. We went through some examples. Hi, Joe. Did you see any homes you want more information on? Let me know, Lisa. Notice that, what we talked about last time, first name basis. That indicates familiarity. And if you put in there, hi, Joe, let me know, Lisa, that really is really quick, and it makes it easy. Another one, hi, Joe, are you still interested in Chesapeake? I'd love to hear from you, Lisa. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. You're really, really looking for brief and questions. Those are the two keys to it. Another one that's got a couple of them. Are you enjoying our website? Need help with anything? You notice that it's not all formal. It doesn't say, would you need help with something? It's written. You want to write things at an 8th grade level, and I don't mean that unkind. It just means that your brain, even if you're college educated, you got a doctorate, your brain functions at that level when it's just relaxed and looking at houses. Your brain is not sitting there thinking doctoral thesis. There's very few people that are that formal. So if you're kind of informal with it, that actually works better. Okay, another one. Are you interested in talking to a lender for pre-approval? Have some great contacts. Wonderful. That's another quick one. And we went through all of these last time in depth. Would you like to get some lunch or coffee sometime? I'd love to meet you. Have a great evening, Lisa. Just friendly little notes, and do these work? Absolutely. A friend of mine, Cal Carter, came up and said, just chatted with one of my agents. Lisa's messages brought him 27 warm responses in the last 3 days. That's how good they work. I would guess the other 7 agents, he's got 8 agents in his office, are having similar results. And Cal is not someone who's prone to overstatement, all right? He's not. And if you knew Cal, you would realize how remarkable it is. He's very methodical and evaluates things very carefully. And the fact that he's picked up 27 warm responses from his lead, this agent's leads in the last 3 days is amazing, and it's testament enough to that these things work. Okay, here's another one that I just stuck in there since the last time. Noticed you were looking insert city here. What can I help you find to make your search easier? And just all these little questions, and all you need is one question, and one of the things that we're going to do, and I actually want to do the contest first, but one of the things we're going to do is we're going to look at some leads, look at autoresponders, how to set up drip campaigns, and pick up returning visitors. The other thing I wanted to do, I was working with another group, and one of the things that I wanted to cover really quickly was there was a couple of things. Well, first, let's go to the contest. Let me get down here. All right, and I want to have a contest with everybody, and what I'm going to do is basically give you a lead, and I'm going to let you go in and see it. And since we're recreating this thing, you won't be able to see it because I deleted it I was actually in Nathan's site, and I went in and came in as a lead, and then I deleted it since then. But the lead is Jeff Blackwell, okay? Jeff happens to be my brother. Now, what I want you guys to do is go in and start looking up how much information you can pull up about Jeff online while we're here right now. And there's a prize to the person who can get the most correct information about him and put it in the questions box. So if you're there, put it in the questions box, and I'll keep track here and I'll start responding. I noticed that someone has already come in and said that he is that he lives in Indiana. That's true. Okay. And Terry picked up on the fact that he says he's 45. Somebody said he's 45 years old. Okay. That is true. And somebody just put in that he's 41 years old. I wish I was 41, or wish he was 41. He's actually 45. Okay. Let's see what other information can you have. Here's a couple of resources for you that you can use to find some information about people online. If you go to people.com, and it's not P-E-O-P-L-E, it's P-I-P-L.com, P-I-P-L.com. What that is, that's a website where you can type in first name, last name, and city, right? And if you're in this, the lead that we have is, and since I'm recreating this a little bit, the registration came in, and I pulled it up online, and one of the things that is there is that it's a lead, and Jeff's email address is jeff@blackwellsoftware.com, and somebody put in already that he owns blackwellsoftware.com. Well, that's good information. What else do you know about it? What else do you know about Blackwell Software? All right, somebody just put in that the company's in Indiana. That's great. A lot of times, if you really want to dig into somebody and they have a business, you can look at the Secretary of State's website to see a little bit about the business, how long it's been in business. You can see a little bit about and I know that's kind of snooping, right? But most often, if you know that where the business is located. Now, sometimes they're incorporated in Delaware or Nevada or whatever. In this case, it is not. His company is incorporated in Indiana. So that's another one. Somebody put in and they were looking at his phone number, and you can plug his phone number in to someplace like People, and his phone number is 812-620-1736, right? Nobody call him because he doesn't know that I'm doing this with him, please. But one of the other things that you can find out about someone by Googling, you can Google their phone number. That'll help sometimes. Sometimes it won't. It depends. Somebody put in that he's located in Scottsburg, Indiana. He's not actually located in Scottsburg. He's located in Salem. But that's a good try. You were close. And somebody put in that he runs a website called salespractice.com. That's actually a different Jeff Blackwell. I also know him. He's a good guy. He's actually out in Arizona. So sometimes you do get wrong information about that, and you always want to double check that. But he does not use he does not do a website called salespractice.com. And let's see, what else do we know about him? Well, one of the things that and we'll go on with this as we go. And I noticed Joe put in some things here. The bottom line is, if you use PIPL.com, you use the online resources, you use Google, start Googling things that you know about him. Somebody put in that Joe put in, I think, that his son, his son's name is Jordan, and actually Jordan is actually my son. So that's a good try, but close. One of the ones that I'm surprised that y'all didn't get really quickly was the fact that he's that he and I are twins, and somebody just put in that he's very good looking. Well, no, thank you though. But that just means he's been the misfortune of having to look like me his whole life. But the bottom line is, you can get a lot more information just by taking the time. Now, do you guys actually go out and do that a lot when you have leads? Do you go to this kind of level to find a little bit out about somebody when you have leads? And there's a couple of people that are saying yes, they do. And it's important to take just a minute. It doesn't take very long to Google somebody, but if you know who you're talking to, if you understand them just a little bit, you can craft your response to be a little bit better. Usually if you know something a little bit about them, you can say something just a little different way. And again, you don't have to make it some big, long, email that write War and Peace or whatever. All you have to do is make it a one-liner. But if you know a little piece of information about them, you can tailor your response, and you'll up your batting average as a result. And that's the important part, is upping your batting average. That's the big thing. Okay, so we know that a little bit about him. I think Terry got the most information. So Terry, I'm officially declaring you the winner. Thank you. The rest of you, you did a great job. Please do not be offended by that or anything. But Terry, you did a great job. So I appreciate that. Let's go back up. So now that you know a little bit about, and I know some of you already do this, going and getting information on a lead, take a quick look, see who they are. Okay, that's important. Getting a little understanding about what they're up to. Okay, let's go back up at some different questions. Actually, let's do the questions first. Okay, this was a great question that somebody asked in another meeting I was in, and I really like it. Is the conversion rate different between pay-per-click and organic leads? I think that's a great question. Yes, pay-per-click leads, when you manage them correctly, I guess yes is the right answer. If you don't manage a pay-per-click campaign correctly, then it won't matter. But a correctly managed pay-per-click campaign is very targeted. You can pick exactly which keywords that people are searching for when they come to your site. So you obviously can get people that are searching for very precise things. A friend of mine, Kelly Kohler, out in Tucson, Arizona, she actually had and has a strategy for doing that, where she does things very precisely. She targets engineering students that are coming to Arizona State University. That's really all she wants to talk to, and coming back for graduate school, because she knows if they're there for graduate school, they're there for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and she wants to work with them. So, and she is an engineer by trade before she became a realtor, which is kind of an interesting combination. But I really like what she did, in the sense that she targets her pay-per-click campaign to just really specific questions that people would type into Google. So she doesn't get that much traffic, but the people that she gets are very precise. And she said, I don't really want to pay for anybody unless they have a question that I really can answer. And so those kind of leads are a lot more targeted. With organic leads, as you start to get more and more and more, let's say that you rank for a nice general term like Hampton Roads real estate. Well, somebody coming in there, you really don't know whether they're a military buyer or whether they're relocating. They could be, there's no difference between somebody who's, even if you look at on the websites where you can see exactly what they're searching for, the one thing it won't tell you, if somebody's looking for a $400,000 property in Virginia Beach, close to the beach, right? What do you know whether it's a second home buyer, whether it's a first home buyer that's somebody that's a local executive of a company, or whether it's an officer in the Navy who wants to live off base and live close to the beach? Do you know any of those things? Not really. There's no way to know it, and so the best organic conversion rates that I've seen out there are in the 2 to 2.5% range, and I think it's important to define exactly what we're talking about. From the people, the registrations. This is talking about people that are signing up on the website and just saying, yeah, my name is. To to the people that you get to the closing table. I don't want you to be discouraged by that, but I want you to have a realistic sense of the best organic conversion rates are about 2 to 2.5%. Now, over time, they'll improve. Whereas a tightly managed pay-per-click campaign can pull as much as 5% if you really put the effort into it. I've seen people go higher than that with that, but that's really what it is. There's a tendency sometimes when people look at an internet lead and they start to work with them, they go, oh, this is a waste of time. This guy doesn't really want to do anything yet. And you have to give it time. That's an important thing. Another question that I really liked and that somebody asked was, how often should you drip email? We've done some studies on that here at my little company, and one of the things that we really wanted to ask was if we took a bunch of people and we really started peppering them with drip email, at what point would they start to get off? And you would be amazed at how we did that. I actually worked with a guy named Jeff Hurst, and he actually cranked it up where he was sending stuff 2 or 3 times a week, and constantly just barraging people until they said no mas, and they started opting out. What we found is every 2 or 3 weeks is about right. You're going to keep people on there. They won't be too long, and you will get them to come back. Excuse me. But if you really pepper them hard and you hit them with a lot of stuff, and especially if it looks like it's canned, people will start opting out. Now, Jeff's one of those gunpowder eating types that just goes out and he doesn't really worry about it. He was like, you can use my database. I want to thin a few of them out anyway. It's funny. But that's really, so I used his to do a little bit of a study on it. And what we found was that if we started hitting them more than once a week or once every couple of 3 weeks, more than once a week, and they really start opting out. If you haven't, once every 2 or 3 weeks, that's perfect. Okay. Now, we do know that when people first sign up, it's pretty common to go up front to do it a little faster at first. So maybe you do it, once or twice the first week, and then once the second week, and then you slow it down to every 2 or 3 weeks. I hope that makes sense. That's really what you want to do. Okay, creating saved searches if a visitor hasn't done so. This is a great strategy, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to do that. And you're going to be like, wow, how did I not do this? If you haven't done this, this works awesome. Creating saved searches, if there's a visitor that's gone to your website and they've signed up and they've registered, what they really want is for you to go in and they would, in order to get them to come back, remember the goal is to either get a conversation started or get them to come back to your website on a consistent basis to where they do eventually start a conversation with you. So the thing about saved searches, you can go in on their behalf. You just you go on the back end, you look at the leads, you click on their name, and you create a saved search for them. Okay? If you do that, what happens is you can actually go in and they will get emails weekly. They'll get an email blast that says, here's some of the latest ones on the market. Now, what I love about that is you've done it through your website so that when they click on those, they're brought back to your website. So they're in your little domain. What I like doing is setting them up on that, even if they've never volunteered, even if they've never said, oh, can you please set me up? I set them up, and then I send them a little email that says the following. I took the liberty of setting this search up so that you can see how this works. It'll send you the latest listings as they come on the market. If you'd like me to modify the criteria, please let me know and I'll be happy to. I won't bug you. I just want to provide you with the tools that you need. There is a way in there where they can go back in and modify it themselves. They can log into their saved search, and when you set them up on there, they can go in and do that. The problem with that is, and that's fine if they want to do that and they don't want to, they want to circumvent you. That's great. I mean, let them shop. At least they're coming back to your website. But if you can get them to talk to you about the criteria, then you've really, sorry for yawning there, it's been a long night. If you can get them to work on the criteria, then you really have something there. That's a strong strategy because you started a conversation. Then they're telling you what they want. So that then before they were just at Lowe's shopping and they were using a little automated tool to find what they wanted. Now they're saying, take me to the flooring department so I can look at laminate flooring, and because I really want to rip out the carpet that was there in the Carter administration in my house. so that's what they're saying. They're telling you more about themselves, and so that means that they're getting ready to go. Handling leads from the roads. From the road. A lot of times when you get a lead, you'll get a lead when you're out doing stuff. And we got some stuff that's coming that I can't tell you about, but I can tell you there's some good stuff coming for this. But in the meantime, this is a great opportunity. Give them a call. Give them a call. And one of the best strategies, a lot of times they'll have their phone, and what you do is you're calling them, and if they pick up the phone, you just let them know that, hey, I'm on the road right now, but I saw you got on my site. Is there something that I can help you with? And then be quiet. Don't say any more. Just wait till they answer and then work from there. If you have a smartphone, you can send them an email. Just remember that your email says sent by my iPhone or Droid. They know it's not a canned response. That's another key to it. Is one of the things that leads do not appreciate is canned responses. Even if they're canned, they need to look like they're not canned, right? And so one of the things you can do is just send them a quick note. Just saw that you were on my site. Is there anything I can do for you? And it says sent by my iPhone or sent by Droid. And they're like, wow, I got a response from this person. Okay? You know, or maybe you just say on there, I'm on my cell, so typing is tough, but is there something I can help you with? Call me at, or can I call you? And that sort of thing. Ask about it. You never know. Another point about cell phones, and I said this last week or 2 weeks ago, and I really mean it. The more I thought about it, it's stellar. If you call them and they don't answer, and that happens sometimes, right? They'll pick it up and they'll go, goodness, I don't, they just don't, they're busy, they're not, or they're not sure who the number is. Just don't answer. Don't leave a voicemail. Just hang up. Why? If you leave a voicemail, what happens? Your voicemail says something like this. Hi, I'm Susie Smith, realtor with the Real Estate Group. Oh, by the way, if there's anything that you need, I'd be glad to help you. Well, what do they do with that? If they're too early in the process, they go, well, I'm not calling Susie back. But if they just see that it's been a hang-up, what are they going to do? I don't know who called me. Let me push this button, and then they get you on the phone, and you answer, and it's, hi, this is Susie Smith. Oh, who are you? And well, you must be calling because I left a message for you, or I called you about being on the website. And then you start a conversation. You've already got the conversation started. The other thing to keep in mind about cell phones and voicemails and all that good stuff, if it's critical that you answer your cell phone all the time and that you don't let people go to voicemail. The number one killer of business right now is for them to call you and you not to pick up the phone and engage them. Because if they leave you a voicemail, or if they go to your voicemail and says, hi, I'm Susie Smith, Realtor, the problem is they will not call. If they go to your voicemail, they will not leave a message for you unless they're just stoked and ready to go and they think you're the only resource. But if you answer the phone, you've got them. You can engage them in a conversation and get things going. So handling leads from the road is a great opportunity, and somebody asked about that at this other meeting, and I thought that was amazing. Okay, let's go to the live website for a second, and I really want to take a look at that. Let me hit there and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm on Nathan's website, and sorry, Nathan, I'm just using your website. I really appreciate the use of it. And I went into the back end, and of course, one of the things that you want to do, and we'll talk a little bit about this, is you can go in when you're working with leads, especially. Let's just go to leads, and then let's go to search leads. All right, and then let's just hit search. That's my favorite way to do it. Okay? Now, we talked about some of this the other day, but what I want to do is the first thing that I would do if I was working on leads is every so often I would go in and click on last active, this little link right here, because that will sort all of these guys, all of these folks. It'll sort them by the last person that was on your website. And you can see that the last, the last visit was done 2 days ago. Okay? Now, Sam Weatherly has been here 19 times and looked at 653 pages on the site, right? Looks like he's related to Mason Weatherly, who's done the same thing. Now, my whole point with that is this. By doing that on a Monday morning, you can see who's jumped in there in the last little bit. And over the weekend, you can see who's actively been out looking on your website. That's kind of important information to know, because what you want to do is contact those people, and all you have to do is click their little email address, and it'll send an email to them. It'll pop up, and you can type in a quick email. Noticed you were out looking around this weekend. Is there anything I can help you with? Boom. Short question, fired away. If they're out there actively looking, that's the time to get them. Or you could say, I noticed you were looking stuff in the $275,000 to $350,000 range. That sort of thing. Now, since we're recreating this webinar, and I've already deleted mine, I had Jeff's in there, and I put some stuff that he was searching for, but I'm taking that out. So that's the first thing. But if you go in and somebody asks about how to set up autoresponders and how those work, all right? Let's get rid of all that. Okay, and autoresponders you got to be careful with. I'm not anti-autoresponder, but I'm not pro it either. It takes a really good autoresponder to beat, and there's some default ones that are already set in here. But when somebody registers goes through on your registration form, keep in mind that, and all you have to do is hit the edit for the autoresponder, and you can actually go through and change what the autoresponder says. In this case, it's something very short. Thanks for visiting our site. Please let us know how we can help with your home search. Would you like to view homes or in person anytime soon? It's a great response. One-liner, ends in a question. It has all those ingredients that we talked about. Okay, if you turn that on, you'd make it active. It'll work. If you turn it off, it won't, and that's okay. That means you can get them on your own and send them a quick note of your own. I kind of like sending them on my own, but it's up to you. I mean, we've put them in there so that you can use them if you'd like. But that's what the autoresponders are. Now, one of the things that I would be really careful about is the IDX registration form is the one that you'd really want to use the most if you're doing an autoresponder, because that's somebody that goes on the website and just signs up and says, I want to look at all the listings, so I'm just signing up. The ones that you don't want to do, in my opinion, if somebody fills out a seller form, they need to get contacted by you immediately, personally. If they're saying, I've got some place, you don't want to send a canned response to a seller that says, hi, thank you for visiting my website. Is there anything I can do for you? That's pretty lame. So what I would do with that is I would hit them with a personal response. A buyer, likewise, somebody that comes in and says, or an IDX inquiry, that's another one that you want to do, right? If they inquire about a specific property and they get a canned auto response, look up "not cool" in the dictionary. There's a picture of that, right? I mean, you don't want that to be the case. If they're going to take the time to inquire about a specific property and say, is this property still on the market, or has the price dropped on this property, or what is the condition of this, whatever they ask, there's a thousand questions that they ask. If they do that, it's time to call them and engage. That's like, ding, 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 time to pick this guy up. And so I wouldn't use autoresponders for that. Okay, one of the questions that came up here, and since we're recreating the webinar as opposed to doing it the first time, I really kind of messed up the answer to it the first time. And on campaigns, drip campaigns, somebody asked about how do you set up a drip campaign and set it up to work with an individual. And the answer is that campaigns are not set up for individuals. They are set up for groups. Okay? But you can create a group, and let's take a look at Nathan's groups here. Nathan has a sample drip group, military buyer group, first-time buyer group, mobile leads group. Okay? Actually, mobile leads is a global group, but he's put these three in here, which is kind of cool, right? And so he's got these groups. Now, I'm not sure whether he's got campaigns set up for them or not because I haven't looked. But basically, what he's got them set up so that you have them there ready to go. Okay? So if you set up a drip campaign for your military buyers, every one of your military buyers will get the same thing. And every one, the first day, then at day 7, then at day 16 or whatever, they actually get it. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to actually go in and do, once you set up the group, you can go in and set up the campaigns. So let's just go look at his campaigns. He's got a sample drip campaign. Let's just edit that. Okay, and that campaign consists of 10 emails spread over. Those 10 emails are spread over 60 days. Okay, and so what he's got is this is just a sample, but it says the first one is advanced home search tools. And by the way, if you want to see what those what that is, what the message is, the email message is drip 1, and we're going to get to that in a second. But he's actually got day 1, day 3, day 5. So he's hitting them pretty strong right up front, but then he backs off and really spreads it out to where by day 15 he's down to 10 every 10 days, and then he's to 11 days, and then he's to 9 days later, right? So he's got it spread out pretty good. And he has different messages set up for each time, so it looks like he's really following up and being diligent, and he's just basically set them up in this group. Now, I probably wouldn't go quite as tight as what he's got here in the sample group. I'd probably spread it out just a little bit, but that's okay. It's not I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. By the way, if you want to add a campaign email to one of these, all you have to do is click on Add a Campaign Email, and you type in the email subject that you want, and then you hit select the message, and you can either use one of the sample ones or you can create one of your own. I did a couple here, follow-up email 1, follow-up email 2, and I'll show you how I did those in a second, and then you can go from there. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this. I'm not gonna put that in there for him because this is his account, not mine. But when you want to add a campaign email, the place that you do that is under Documents. And if you go under Documents and you say Add a Document, and you type in the name of the document, so let's just do follow-up 3. Okay, and you can type in just checking in. How's it going? Right, I mean, I'm just putting some simple text in there as an example. We've already put some real live examples in there for you that you can click on, and you can put this in a category. The category is sample drip emails, right? And you can add links to things just like anything else. You can add images. You can add anything you want to, but let's just keep it basic for right now. I really think, and so let's create the document. Okay, now what I'm going to do, it says action successful, so we've created the document. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to look in the documents, and under sample drip emails, we're going to edit those. Oops, where are they? Manage documents. Okay, there we go. Hit manage documents, and you see I've got follow-up 3, which is the one I just added. I've got follow-up email 1, follow-up email 2, and you can add these in here. Once you've added them in, then you can add them to campaigns or whatever you want to do. Now, since these are Nathan's and I don't want to clutter up his account, I'm going to delete this one. And it says, you sure you want to delete it? Sure. So you can take them out. Just remember that if you take them out, that they're actually going to go out of whatever campaign they were in as well. Okay? So just make sure that if you're going to delete something out, that you understand that. But it's you see how simple it is to create a document and then add it to a campaign, and then you add the person, the lead, you add them to the group. And let's just do that. Let's go in, and we're going to go to Manage Leads, and then we're going to search leads. This is my way of doing it. There's lots of ways of doing it. So then you hit Search Leads. Okay. And then what you do is you just click on Sam Weatherly, right? And all you have to do, you can edit the lead, right? And you can put them in a group just by checking the group. So all you have to do is check that right there. Call them, let's just say that he's a first-time home buyer. We're not going to do that, but let's just say that we did. If we did, then he would get any drip campaigns that were headed to the first-time home buyers. Okay, so it's important to make sure that you don't put somebody in, oh, he's a military buyer and he's also a first-time buyer and he's also a mobile lead. Well, if you've got email campaigns going to all of those, you're going to bombard the guy with emails. Don't do that. Just pick one group that describes him the best and put him in that category, and that way you'll avoid, double whammying him with a lot of email. So that's how you do that. I prefer to do it. I know it's more time intensive, but I prefer to do it by hand. And Joe Cross asked a great question during the original seminar, or the original webinar, and she basically said, we do this mostly by hand. Isn't that more effective? Yes, it is. A lot of times you can sacrifice a little bit of efficiency and end up being a lot more effective. And when it works with buyer leads, there's always a balancing act to be had. I mean, obviously you don't want to sit there and write a big long missive, because that's neither effective nor is it efficient. But the way that you did it, Joe, was great, because what you did was you're taking the time to personalize it, and just, that's what you need. It's time to personalize it, just so they know that in that short little message that there's something that it's you writing it. That's what having a thing that says sent from my droid does, right? So when you respond to somebody via email, if you do that, you'll probably up the average on the people that'll get back to you. Think about that. If you're one of those people like me that I like to be on the smartphone a lot. One of the things about that is you can really, people know that you're on the road. They know that you're doing things. So anyway, that's how you do this. I want to go back and if there are any other questions, I want to make sure that we have time to address those. Let me pull back up sorry, you get to see my cluttered desktop there. The sign of a cluttered mind. Okay. What I want to do is I want to go back up, and let's talk about anything else that you have. Any other questions about managing leads using the system? Now, realize that there's more to using the system, more to managing leads than just using the website. Managing leads is kind of a mindset. It's a mindset that says, I understand what these internet buyers really want. They want to be able to just browse around, go window shopping online. And so I want to work with that. I want to let them browse around in my window shop. And then when they're ready, I want to bring them in and work with them. And until then, I really don't want to bug them, but I want to keep top of mind presence. That's the mindset that we really need. And that's part of this whole goodness of what we're doing as a brokerage here, where you've got your website. The whole idea is not to see how many people we can bring into realestategrp.com. There are going to be plenty of people that are going to come to there, because we're going to have internet presence that's going to, as it comes up, is really going to help. But that's not the primary goal. The primary goal of having awesome internet presence, which is where we're going, is to make it easier for you to list as well as to buy. And that's something that a brokerage level site can do. With this stuff, the great part about this is by managing these leads and just bringing them in, making them comfortable, getting to know them, starting conversations. Everything that you can do to start a conversation. Conversations turn into clients. And unless you have a conversation, they're never going to turn into a client. They have to go through that process in order to become a client. And we just do it differently these days than we have before. So if there are no other questions, I know this is a little bit cut down version since we're recreating it, but I've tried to get the essence of everything that was asked so that we could put it in here and bundle it up so that you've got it and a lot less confusion than what happened on the real webinar. Have a great couple of weeks, and in September we're going to be talking more about some tricks that you can use, not just with the website but with other tools to bring in to expand your sphere, to engage your sphere in working with you on your website. And we're gonna have some fun with that. So that's coming up. Enjoy Labor Day coming up, and have a great week. Thanks.